March 23rd, 2001 is a date that will live in forever for wrestling history. And you say, Scotty, what is wrong with that date? What is so big about it? It is the day, in my eyes, that professional wrestling came to a halt, because it's the day that Vince McMahon decided to buy WCW. If you noticed on a Monday night, you came home, and if you were a WCW fan, you were like, God, I can't wait to watch Nitro. I can't wait to watch it. You get home, you click on the TV, and what do you see in front of you? You see Vincent Kennedy McMahon saying that he has bought WCW from Ted Turner. So you think, where's this going? It's a simulcast from Raw on the Nitro program. And you, as a WCW fan, people that's watched NWA and AWA and all this territorial wrestling, where do you go from here? You're seeing the juggernaut in front of you. And you're sitting there saying, well, what's going to happen to WCW? And Vince says, you all have been giving me crap for 18 years, running head to head with me. And I finally got you. I finally got you. And all the fans and all the wrestlers say, what is going to happen to WCW? WCW is in the palm of my hands. That's what he said. Ridiculous. It was the end of wrestling as we know it. I knew it was going to be a disaster from the start. It's just, you think he may have handpicked a couple people out of WCW. Why buy? He bought them out to shut them down, to get them out of the way, to not have to deal with them, because he had to fight with them for 18 years. Not when they were NWA. When NWA went into WCW. So that was all the Crockett promotions and all that. They had to sign it to WCW. That's when World Championship Wrestling started back in 87 or 88. But anyway, they bought all the rights to them. And Vince bought all the rights, so he's going to shut them down. So you think he would pull some of the talent with just to have to put on his show, because he had to fight them for so long. If it wasn't for Steve Austin and The Rock, he wouldn't even be on TV. And if Eric Bischoff got Triple H, if he had that one wrestler, Triple H, he would still be on TV. So why do you think Stephanie and him's married? I mean, she's probably been through the whole locker room. Triple H was the key. He's the one that held it down. He's the one that was back with the Clique and everybody. He's the one that, look, he's running the company. I mean, look at it. If Eric Bischoff had that talent, he would have still been on TV. Vince was so worried that he was backpedaling, so he decides to flash his money and buy WCW and shut it down. If he would have took some of the talent and did what he did with them, all you ever seen a WCW person that was true to WCW, every person that was brought to the WWE was either a jobber or just been made out to be a joke or an embarrassment. And you might say, oh, what about Rey Mysterio? Well, what about him? He's just a cartwheel kicking little cruiserweight from WCW. He had a better chance than WCW. Yeah, he won the world title for one night. I mean, what Big Show? He's a joke. That man is 7'1" or 2, almost 500 pounds. And he's looked like a jobber for his whole career in WWF. Oh my God, how can people say that the WWE is awesome? It's ridiculous. You haven't had a good storyline since Rock and Austin in WrestleMania 18. That WrestleMania 6, I mean, it hasn't been good in 20 years almost. It's just ridiculous. How did we go from this? I mean, no competition makes Vince sit down in his chair and say, well, I got this. Nobody's ever going to step up to me again. That was his whole idea from the get-go. was to buy WCW and tarnish everything that Jim Crockett, everything that Dusty Rhodes, everything that Jim Ross prior to WWF, everything that Jim Cornette, everything that Harley Race, anybody that was associated with Mid-South Wrestling or anything in the southern states as far as wrestling, as they say, he just hates the fact that Southern wrestling was giving him a hard time. And now that he's shut it down and he's made all their performers look like jobbers, then he controls it all. He decides and nitpicks and picks what he wants to have happen. Even Booker T. Poor Booker T came from WCW, and the only thing you remember is King Booker. Yeah, he won the championship in WWE, but it was the Ric Flair title, as I call it, not the SmackDown title. I mean, all they wanted was that belt. All they wanted was the competition to go away. That belt is prestigious. If anything, that World Championship SmackDown title means more than that WWE title will ever mean. Just the people that's held it in wrestling has just that's what they wanted. They wanted the belt. That's all they wanted. That's why he made the NWA title a jobber belt. It's not even the number one contender for the WWE belt. Why have all these belts? If you didn't want to do anything with that belt, you should have put it off in the distance. I mean, they had it back then in the old times, like in 2002, that they let Triple H wear it and everything. It's just proof that it was about that belt. That's all it was about. He wanted that belt to rub it in everybody's faces that he was the biggest guy in wrestling. He doesn't want to have anybody compete with him. But there's one man that stayed true to himself and everybody else. He just decided, well, if they're not going to do it, and I don't want to go to the WWE. So that's why Sting stayed true to himself and never worked a day in WWE. So they start TNA with Jeff Jarrett because he's mad because WCW got shut down. But Jerry Jarrett is the Southern Tennessee and all this stuff that started the business. They're trying to recreate again. And I know it's not a formidable competition right now. And everybody says TNA is junk. But you got to understand that if they were junk and they were so bad, why aren't they shut down? Why hasn't Vince already bought them? Why hasn't he bought them and shut it down? Because they're not for sale. They're going to really go at it again, and it's ran the way that traditional wrestling should be ran. Like they're training people and they're bringing up people, and the X Division and all the people, if they start pushing young talent, are going to be the future of wrestling. And I don't even know why we really talk about it anyway. If he's going to run a monopoly then and keep all these other little territories at bay that are trying to start up, then there's going to be either an uprising or Vince is going to run his own company into the ground. I am glad that Sting stayed true to himself and did not work for a company that was just meant to ruin everything that a character has built up for 15, 20 years. There is no reason to go to a place that you never went to before and try to make a new career for yourself. I would just walk away from wrestling. I would not work for Vince McMahon. I mean, you could say that you would be broke. You could say that you'd be homeless and all kinds of things because Vince owns everything and he's got all kinds of money. But money doesn't buy happiness. And the happier wrestler is going to be the better wrestler. So with everybody that's saying that, you know, TNA doesn't have a chance, TNA's not going to be anything, and I'm not a really big TNA fan, but I'm really not a WWE fan. So I'm in the middle here. I'm like leaning toward TNA, but I watch WWE because they got everything. You know, they got all the production value, they got the big pyros, they got all the vignettes, they got everything because they got the money. But if you look at as far as wrestling, you want TNA because TNA is better at wrestling. and it's just that's why they quit with a 6-sided ring, because they went to a 4-sided ring, so they're taken care. I mean, they're actually taken serious. Jerry Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett are running a legit company, and it's not big, and it's not going to be big anytime soon, but it is getting better, and WWE is a juggernaut. They could have great wrestling shows to where they would not have anybody even question their authority. But there's a reason that people are saying that they suck. There's a reason that people are crying for NXT people with beards to come up to give them something new. You already got something new. Go watch another program. If you don't like what you're seeing on WWE, give another program a chance. Make them come up. That's what the wrestling business needs, is competition. Because if we get back into the shape that we were before, that's why we have all these matches and all these great storylines and storytelling in the ring, because of the competition. Nobody wants to take a spot. You can't hold a spot forever. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much and how hard you try. If you're going to spend money to put your wife in the Senate and not worry about everything but worry about social media and movies and stuff that doesn't even remotely resemble wrestling, then the wrestling company that stays true to the sport of wrestling will come up and grab you. And then it's up to them what they want to do with you. I mean, they can spit you out, or they can run with you, or you just end up buying them out like you did last time. Either way, regardless, I think TNA, Total Nonstop Wrestling, where wrestling matters, is the best thing that ever happened to the WWE. Because from 2004 to 2008, it was all stagnant. Lately, it's been better. And it just goes to show that you get a couple wrestlers, a couple old has-beens in the minds of everybody else, and it's true, they are older wrestlers, and they are prior WWE wrestlers, but most of them are from ECW, Bully Ray and all of them. But just having competition makes for a better storyline, and it just makes for better competition and better wrestling, because in the end, it's all going to be on the fans' hands. The fans make the choice of what they want to watch. And if you like WWE, I'm not knocking you or anything. Or if you like TNA, I'm not knocking you. It's just the fact that you can watch either one of them. But the thing is that if you give another program a chance, then you make them popular, then they're going to come up to where it's going to make Vince check his stuff. Why do you think he's back? Why do you think all these people are coming back? Because they don't want what happened in 2001 to happen again. But I think it's the greatest thing in the world. The world was built on competition. I want to thank you all for watching. Remember, we all have a video camera, we all have internet, and we all have an opinion.